Welcome to another video on Simple Manufacturing's features and functions. In this video, we will discuss corrective actions in manufacturing. First, let's provide a few definitions and clarifications. First, a corrective action is a structured and documented process used to identify, eliminate, and prevent the recurrence of nonconformities or defects in products, processes, or systems. Next, let's clarify the difference between corrective action and correction. A correction addresses the immediate problem. For example, reworking a defective part. A corrective action focuses on preventing the root cause from recurring. Another common term is containment, which is an immediate, short-term action taken to control or limit the impact of a nonconformity, preventing it from spreading, reaching the customer, or affecting more parts, products, or processes, while a root cause investigation and long-term corrective action are underway. Next, let's discuss the purpose of a corrective action process. Why do we even need it, and what is the value add? First, it is used to improve product quality, improve or ensure customer satisfaction, maintain compliance with standards like ISO 9001 and AS9100, and reduce waste and cost associated with rework or returns. Now, let's discuss the key elements of a corrective action process. First is a thorough, accurate, and descriptive problem identification. Describe the product defect, process failure, or audit finding. Next is root cause analysis, which is the investigation and determination of the underlying causes of the problem. There are several methods for determining root cause. Those methods are 5 whys, fishbone diagram, Pareto, 8D, FMEA, and fault tree. The use of and complexities vary between each. Simple Manufacturing has the 5 whys method incorporated in its process. It is the simplest of them all and not complicated to use, and when used, it usually results in determining the underlying cause or causes. The 5 whys method is simple, asking why multiple times, typically 5, until the underlying issue is found. The next step is to develop an action plan of steps that need to be taken to eliminate the root cause and correct the issue. Once the action plan is complete, the next step is to implement it, applying the corrective actions in the affected process or system. The final step is to verify that the corrective actions were implemented and to validate or verify that the issue has been resolved to prevent a recurrence of the problem. Many believe this is the most challenging part of any corrective action taken for several reasons. It's hard to prove a negative, that a problem won't recur. The goal of verification is to ensure that the corrective action truly eliminated the root cause and that the problem won't come back. But just because something hasn't failed yet doesn't mean it's fixed. You're trying to prove something won't happen, which is inherently complex. Second, inadequate monitoring time. Some issues occur intermittently or only under specific conditions, for example, certain shifts, tools, materials, or processes. If the corrective action is verified too soon, it might appear to be effective, but the issue could still be lurking. Accurate verification requires time, data, and trend analysis, which many teams often overlook or rush. Third, poor definition of success criteria. Verification often fails because teams don't define what success looks like. If there's no clear, measurable benchmark, for example, 0 defects for 30 days, it's hard to say if the corrective action worked or not. Fourth, root cause wasn't correct. If the root cause analysis was flawed, the corrective action may have addressed the wrong thing. This leads to false confidence in the solution and eventual recurrence of the problem. Fifth, lack of objective data. Teams may rely on anecdotal feedback, seems better now, instead of hard evidence, for example, defect trend data, process capability metrics. Without objective measurement, verification becomes subjective and unreliable. Lastly, pressure to close the issue quickly. Supervisors or management often want issues resolved fast, especially if customers are involved. This can cause teams to shortcut verification to check the box and move on. Lastly, document everything, especially the objective evidence for determining the effectiveness of the corrective actions. Now that we have provided purpose and key elements for the corrective action process, let's discuss when to initiate one. Be very strategic about when a corrective action is initiated. Too many indicate the company's business processes are out of control, and too few is a red flag and will be scrutinized. Generally speaking, a healthy manufacturing environment will have a steady and manageable number of corrective actions. Some advice for when to initiate a corrective action. First, when there are recurring nonconformities. Same defect or failure happening repeatedly, for example, dimensional errors, missed inspections. This suggests an underlying systemic issue, not just a one-time mistake. Additionally, customer complaints or returns may warrant a corrective action, especially if repeated or severe, for example, safety-critical failures, delivery of non-conforming parts. Too many of these hurt customer satisfaction, so initiating one to prevent these issues should be required. Additionally, audit findings, whether they be internal audits or ISO 9001 or AS9100 surveillance, or recertification audits, warrant corrective actions for non-conformances discovered. Process failures may warrant corrective actions for unexpected downtimes, equipment failures, or performance deviations affecting production. Serious issues like product recalls or field failures warrant corrective action. Any serious issue that escapes detection and affects the customer or end user. Often, these serious issues require not only corrective action, but also containment and root cause investigation. Recurring issues with incoming materials or parts that impact final product quality require a supplier corrective action, or SCAR, as some may call it. Lastly, any high-risk issues that can lead to safety and environmental regulatory problems warrant corrective actions. Now let's dig into the Corrective Action module in SimpleManufacturing. From the main menu, click Corrective Action Management. This brings up the main menu, defaulted to the Open Corrective Actions. From here, use the filter options above to search and find any corrective action of interest. Various filters are provided. Use a combination of filters to narrow down the resultant list and show the corrective action of interest quickly and efficiently. To view any, double-click the specific corrective action of interest. Choose the simple version of the corrective action form. This basic or simple version of the corrective action contains the minimal set of details and information to carry out a typical corrective action process. That process involves defining and describing the problem or issue discovered, a section detailing the root cause analysis, the actions required to eliminate the root cause, a section providing evidence that the actions have been implemented, and then details of the effectiveness of those actions to prevent recurrence, with closure and approvals details of the corrective action. In addition, there is a document section where the objective evidence can be linked like completed FMEAs or fishbone diagrams used for the root cause analysis. Any file to support the efforts of this corrective action process. These files remain linked to this corrective action and can be viewed at any time. And lastly, an action item section where actions can be added, assigned to an owner, and managed through completion of the action item. Action items can be added for any part of the process and are an effective method for assigning accountability and progressing corrective actions to closure. A simple click is all it takes to prepare an email of this corrective action to the recipient, allowing for editing before sending. Included in the email will be all of the documents or files linked, as well as the printable report of the corrective action. Likewise, after selecting an action item, a simple click will prepare a task item email to the action owner, containing the action required along with the details of the corrective action, and the linked documents and files capturing when the email was sent. Another feature of SimpleManufacturing is the to-do list. The corrective actions are part of the to-do list as well. The to-do list is defaulted to the logged-in user and is a real-time display of open items that are linked to the user. As we see here, the default user is Fulton Mendez, and there are several items in the corrective action bucket. This shows open cars initiated by the user, open cars that are assigned to the user, referred to in SimpleManufacturing as the owner of the corrective action. A list of open supplier cars that the user is the owner of. A list of supplier cars initiated by the user, and a list of all action items where the user is the action owner. This is an effective means of keeping users aware of their open items and establishes accountability. Just a single click from the dashboard opens the corrective action of interest, so the user can complete or review the item or resend reminder emails. The benefits of having the corrective action process integrated with the business's software lead to improved efficiency and accuracy of data. One example of this efficiency is the ability to initiate a corrective action from a non-conforming inspection. Whether it be an in-process, final, or receiving inspection, a single click creates and populates a new corrective action based on the details of the inspection record. The corrective action is then linked to the inspection record. The corrective action can be viewed from the inspection record with a single click, as shown here. Also, when linked, the inspection record can be viewed from the corrective action record as well. Another feature that is helpful in supplier responses to a supplier corrective action is to use the Microsoft Excel template included with SimpleManufacturing. Import the corrective action details into it, and then have the suppliers add the root cause analysis, actions taken, and the verification details. Then, import the supplier's response back into the corrective action record. The first step is to export the corrective action to the Excel template with a single click. This process adds the complete template to the document section. Then click Resend to Recipient, which creates an email and includes the completed template as an attachment. In addition, some corrective actions are initiated from a finding within an internal audit. From the internal auditing module in SimpleManufacturing, after the internal audit is complete and findings are added, a simple click to initiate a corrective action from a finding is all it takes. Once created, the due date, owner, and recipient can be identified. The description reviewed and updated as necessary, and any documents or files can be added. A single click then prepares an email to send to the recipient. The corrective action is linked to the specific internal audit. A second corrective action can be added in a similar fashion for the second finding of this internal audit. A simple click, then adding a due date, owner, and recipient, reviewing the description and adding any documents or files, then preparing and sending to the recipient. Closing out from the internal audit and opening the corrective action shows the newly initiated corrective actions. In addition, those corrective actions are now listed in the corrective action owner's to-do list. Click the bucket of interest with a double click to open any corrective actions for review and completions. Thanks for watching this short demonstration.